Hello and welcome to the very first full episode of the Aha Moments podcast, a podcast and vlog for allied health assistants and their employers. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Simone, my pronouns are they, them. I've been working in allied health practices since I was 15, and I've created this podcast to share with you the ways that an exceptional team of assistants can support you, your business, and most importantly, your patients. Today I want to talk to you about SMART goals, key performance indicators, key performance actions, and the easiest way to create them, track them, and keep on top of them in your practice. And I'm also going to share with you my top 3 key performance indicators specifically for assistants who are often forgotten. And you can track these in your practices on a really easy color-coded spreadsheet that I'm going to show you a really simple tutorial in under 10 minutes. In Excel. But first, since this is the first episode, please let me introduce myself properly. I grew up with chiropractic care, physiotherapy and podiatry since I was just a baby, and my stepmom is a chiropractor too. I'm now studying chiropractic and I've spent most of my working life in allied health practices, often with multiple modalities of health. Now, before anyone who doesn't like chiropractic or works in chiropractic clinic runs away, this podcast is not just for chiropractors and not just for chiropractic assistants. I'm definitely not here to try to convince you that chiropractic or one particular allied health system is better than the others or is a solvent for all of our health issues and concerns. In my personal experience, no singular modality alone has been the sole answer to all of my concerns. But I do wholeheartedly believe that allied health practitioners improve lives and save lives every single day. And most importantly to me, the assistants who help facilitate that care are an integral part of that extraordinary endeavour. And that's what the Aha Moments podcast is all about. So that you know, anytime that I say assistant in the Aha Moments podcast, I'm referring to all of the non-practitioner staff members within your practice. Often these roles are very difficult to define, as it can range from reception work, assisting in treatment rooms, to putting out metaphorical fires, and being an all-rounder. And sometimes assistants are forgotten. So, allied health practitioners and assistants, let's jump right into goals, key performance indicators, key performance actions, and how to introduce them. I believe that a big picture view is the best place to start with implementing key performance indicators, or KPIs. For those watching on YouTube, I've created some visuals to help me explain this content in more depth, but if you're listening on Spotify, I'll do my best to explain it adequately without the visual help. So what is your big overarching goal, your purpose, your mission, or your vision? If your business already has a vision statement, this is where it would fit within this paradigm, the big overarching vision on the outside. For example, my current overarching vision right now is to have a body, mind, and a university degree that will allow me to serve others. For your business, it might be to serve your clinic community, or to enjoy your job every day, or to live a successful life, however you define success. It might be to support people to be the healthiest versions of themselves. Apple's vision statement is to, quote, to make the best products on earth and to leave the world a better place than we found it. Netflix say that becoming the best global entertainment distribution service is their vision. Nike has to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And for Disney, it is simply to make people happy. Now, generally speaking, ethical business practices will guide you towards your vision, and unethical business practices will guide you away from your vision. For example, Disney's vision to make people happy guides them towards innovative ticketing systems to make their theme park waits shorter or feel shorter. They have new movies all the time, and they're making it easy to experience many of their products in some way for everyone. And when they focus on those things, it makes the people who seek them out happy, and that's awesome. They're meeting their vision. But There is currently a class action against them for underpaying theme park employees. Now, this is what I mean, that unethical decisions will lead them away from their vision. Their unethical decision to underpay staff has led them away from their vision of making people happy. So, if that's the vision, the big idea sorted, and you now know what your vision is, let's now look a little closer inward and work out, well, what will this look like in practice? Most of you would have heard about SMART goals. They are goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant. And most importantly, they're time-bound. Now, again, my vision is to have my body, mind, and degree that will allow me to serve others. My targets are to pass my chiropractic courses, to rehabilitate past injury and trauma, to learn to rest and switch off, to fuel my body better, and to heal my gut, to strengthen my body and build more stamina. And that is held in the time-bound frame of the time that I'm studying. Now, notice that each of those targets meet the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound guidelines of SMART goals, especially if I sit down and write it all out. But let's look at some more relevant ones for your practice. If your vision is to support people to be their healthiest versions of themselves, let's make that a SMART goal. Number one is to be specific. Who do you want to help? What do you mean by healthy? And as a hypothetical, let's say that you're really passionate about supporting parents in conceiving during pregnancy and postnatal care. Now let's make it measurable. How many parents do you want to help per week or per month, or even per year? We're going to look at this in more depth a little bit later in today's episode. Is it achievable? Are you accurately estimating your ability to reach this goal? Do you need help from others to get there? Do you need to be open for more hours or shorten your appointment length to achieve this? Do you need specific education in the area? Is it relevant? Now, that's partly your vision, partly your patient's needs, but ultimately in allied health, the people who are seeking you out see you as relevant. So this is one that already is in application and you don't need to think about it too much. Is it time bound? Now, for a vision, a long time frame is ideal, but when we chunk it down into these smaller SMART goals, are you tracking them weekly, fortnightly, or monthly? So from the outside in, we now have our vision, and then we have a few SMART goals. The next closer look is to break down each goal into these actions that we will take to get there. We call these key performance actions, or KPAs. And this is where things go from the esoteric to the more tangible. What will it take to reach your goals? The answer is probably a combination of many actions consistently over time from everyone within your practice. You may need to educate staff on the area of interest that you have a goal in. So a key performance action may be that everyone in your practice attends a quarterly or monthly training session with you or an outside expert. You will need to educate the community more broadly. So will that be via email, video, social media, a combination, probably a combination, and how often are you going to be doing those actions? You might action follow-up calls after first treatments and recalls to patients who chose not to book ahead, follow up new patient leads from an advertising campaign. These are all the actions you take, and they make up your procedure manual, if you like. Now you can choose to write them down, or if you prefer, there's a video option. Each action, though, should be clearly defined and assigned to a person or specific people in your practice. Finally, we get to the innermost part of our circle. So from the outside, we have vision, we have SMART goals, we have KPAs, and now we're looking at key performance indicators. These are the specific numbers or percentages that relate back to the actions you're performing. And this can be a target per week, per month of patients that you aim to see. That's one KPI, or an income KPI. Perhaps you want to make $10,000 in your practice in income per week, or 500 views on TikTok, or 200 views on YouTube. The actions you take is to create that content, make it engaging, encourage your visitors to follow you on social media, possibly boost a Facebook post here and there. Another KPI you might track is employee satisfaction. Once a quarter, you might ask your employees to rate their job satisfaction, and the KPI might be to be 90% or above in satisfaction. The actions, the KPAs, are to provide a nice place to work, support them when they need it, train them well, listen to them, and understand any complaints that they have, and have reasonable expectations of everyone in your practice and remunerate them adequately. So, we've got vision, SMART goals, KPAs, KPIs, but what's the best way to track it? Well, my preferred method is a highly complex Excel spreadsheet that took me hours to create, but I know that not everybody loves Excel and coding as much as I do. So I'm going to show you now how to create a very simple KPI tracker that you can whip up in 10 minutes or less in Excel. If you do want a customized spreadsheet that tracks everything in depth, then please reach out to me. I love creating that kind of thing. Now, if you're listening on Spotify, a link to the tutorial can be found in your episode notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, here it is now. In a blank Excel spreadsheet, start by typing in the KPIs that you want to track and the target. So for this example, I'm just going to start with total patient, and let's do total new patients. We're going to track this monthly, so let's call it 600 total patients a month, and 6 new patients a month. Now, your numbers will vary greatly depending on what kind of practice you're running. Pop in the target there, and then, like I said, we're going to do this one monthly. So I'm going to start by typing in Jan 22. It'll automatically format it for me. I'm going to grab that and grab the corner, drag down until I've got an entire year. Underneath that, I'm going to put the average in, because I think that that's a really important way of looking at an entire period of time. I'm going to make the headings bold just so it's easier to see, and I'm going to center everything. Alright, so first off, we want to be able to see the average nice and clearly throughout the year. So we'll make that bold, and we'll start typing in =average. Double click on what comes up, or type the full word and put in a bracket, and then select the currently blank cells between January and December and press enter. And same thing as you did before for the dates, you drag that across to the second column for total new patients. Now at the moment there's no data, so of course it says you can't divide by 0. That's okay, data can be entered as time goes on. So the next thing we're going to do is conditional formatting, which is what's going to give us our color coding. We're going to do green for target met and red for target not met. So we go up to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and we're going to start with the red, and we're going to go less than, and then just select the cell. Now you can see these dollar signs here. That just means that it's only going to apply to that column, which means we're going to have to do it for the second column. I do find that's the simplest way to do it. So first column's done, second column exactly the same steps. Instead of selecting the 600 cell, this time we're selecting the 6 cell. And then for green, it's slightly different. We're going to do conditional format again, highlight cell rules, greater than, and we're going to do 600. Now, this is where it gets a little bit different to the last step. If I was to just do 600 and make it green, that's fine, that's nice and simple, but if you see 600 patients, you can see you don't get that nice green color, and you just get a blank cell. So instead of doing that, this is what I do instead. Select the column again, highlight cells, greater than, select your 600, make it green, and then in this this box here, you're going to do -1. Same thing for the next column. -1, make it green, okay. All right, so let's test this out now. 600 gets you green, less than 600 you're still in red, and over 600 you're in green in column 1. In column 2, same thing. It's doing the right thing for the right numbers. Now, if I had a crystal ball, we could go ahead and enter in the entire year of numbers. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can see now we've got down the bottom here, people who are portions of people. So to make that nice and clean, I'm just going to use this button underneath number to turn it into a full number. It's up to you how many decimal places you want to go to, but for most practices, going to a full number is adequate. Another thing that I'd like to very quickly show you is how to graph this. That makes it easier for visual learners to understand. So we grab the dates and we grab the column that we want to put into a graph or graph. It's up to you what type of graph you like. You can use a column graph, or I prefer a line graph myself. So we can make the chart title total patient numbers, and you can see down the bottom you've already got your dates in. We can do the same for total new patients. So this time I'm going to select the new patients across the year, hold down Control to select the dates. I'm going to do a line graph again and change the title. If you would like to put this on a separate page, if you're someone who likes to print things, the easiest way to do that is to right click on the graph and press Move Chart, New Sheet, and call the new sheet whatever you'd like, and you can see it moves over. You haven't lost any of your data, it's all down here in sheet 1, and same thing. With your graphs, you can put in trend lines. The easiest way to do that is to select the series, right click and add trend line. You can do linear, I personally prefer logarithmic. And you can now see the trend lines. Now that you've set your vision, SMART goals, KPAs and KPIs, and you've got a simple tracker, how are you going to implement it in practice, and why should you bother? Tracking KPIs is one way of showing whether the actions performed in the practice are adequate to meet your goals and your vision. They can be used to indicate staff performance and to manage any issues with objective numbers and evidence. It is exciting to meet targets, especially when you have a cohesive team working together to fulfill your vision for your practice. There are some important factors to consider before you just jump in and implement this KPI system though. Number 1 is everybody within your practice on board with your vision and your goals? If not, that is something that needs to be addressed before you can have a team that embraces KPIs. Without understanding, it can feel like a big brother moment of you're being watched. But when you're all working together towards a greater vision and goals, people will embrace it. Does everybody know how to use the tracker? If everyone isn't working towards the same vision and same goals, it can feel disingenuine to introduce KPIs. And if it feels disingenuine, people are less likely to remember and engage with how to use it. Are you going to have regular meetings discussing your KPIs and KPAs? Now, I know from experience that when KPIs are tracked but not very well understood by everyone, it is difficult to change and grow. Also, tracking KPIs and not having everyone know what actions increase that specific key performance indicator, it's worthless and will leave managers and owners frustrated and assistants feeling unempowered to do anything about these nonsense numbers because they don't understand the actions and they might not understand the overall vision. Number 4, are you obsessed with numbers? And will it cause you undue stress? I am guilty of this one, and I want you to learn from me. I love numbers and statistics, and after so many years as a chiropractic assistant, my stats were consistently high. But I expected my stats to be everyone's baseline, and I expected everyone to just get it, which was unreasonable of me, and it took a long time and a lot of energy to train everyone to that level of understanding. It wasn't impossible, but not everybody hangs out at their stepmom's clinic after primary school and high school, so of course not everybody's going to have the same in-depth knowledge and understanding as you do after uni. Finally, start from a set date. Introduce your KPIs, KPAs, and goals to everyone. Make sure they fully understand the actions to meet them, and have everyone fully understand the goals to be achieved. Have everyone working towards the same overall vision. Now, with KPIs, it can be very easy to just focus on practitioner performance, but this is a podcast that is inclusive of allied health assistants, and my view is that they are just as important as practitioners, and they should have their own KPIs and KPAs. So, as promised, here are my top 3 key performance indicators specific to allied health assistants. Number 1. The makeup percentage, or the ratio of rescheduled appointments, cancelled appointments, and missed appointments. Now, unfortunately, not all software tracks rescheduled appointments. I know that Front Desk does, but some others don't, and that's frustrating. But as an assistant, if a patient calls to cancel an appointment, we should be understanding of the patient's needs, but also understand the recommendations made by the practitioners aren't made lightly. And it's important that you're conveying the importance of rescheduling instead of cancelling, and that you're following up missed appointments. Otherwise, the patient may believe that your practice is not helping them because they're stretching out those recommendations. KPI number 2 for assistants. The did not rebook percentage. What percentage of clients left without a future appointment? Now, if the patient says goodbye without a future appointment made, you're going to have to rely on them to call with enough notice for them to be fit into the practitioner's schedule. That's not always easy. They also have to be relied upon to remember and follow their frequency recommendations. And again, that patient, if they don't do that, may believe that your practice is not helping them, when actually, if they'd stuck to the frequency of care recommended to them and booked ahead, they would be more likely to reach their health goals. So your action is to politely stop people as they leave and book them in for at least their next 1 appointment, ideally more. This is good for the patient as they'll be receiving treatments at the recommended frequency for their needs. It's good for the practitioner and the practice as it improves retention. And it's good for future you because you don't need to chase them later to keep them on track. And KPI number 3 for assistants is conversions. When you answer the phone and you talk to a prospective new client, are they booking in as an initial consultation 100% of the time? What percent are not converting to a booking, and why not? If your conversions are significantly lower than 100%, then you need to take a look at your booking process. Price is rarely an issue when value is perceived by the person on the phone. And you, the assistant, are the only person who can convey the value of your practice to them in that moment while you're on the phone. That is all I have for today's episode of Aha Moments. If you've discovered an aha moment from today's episode, please like, subscribe, and I will see you next month.